Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about how Twitter had a massive meltdown when a woman from Uganda named Angela was praised for her beauty. And someone took it upon themselves to essentially undermine Angela's beauty and state that they are mostly the reason why she is deemed as beautiful is because of her smaller, slimmer features. And I want to dig a bit deeper into this because this is something that happens quite often towards women who are, first of all, who who are black, but especially dark-skinned black women who happen to be attractive. And a lot of this wording to undermine dark-skinned women, attractive dark-skinned women, typically comes from people who are in the West, people who are a lot more privileged, and they somehow, some way, they have this warped mindset where they can't fathom the fact that a dark-skinned person is seen attractive, especially in Western society. So Angela is a very famous content creator from Uganda in East Africa, and she has amassed a massive following over the years due to her showing the village life in Uganda, but also her beauty, her presence, her positive nature. She radiates and she glows, and she's just a great content creator. And she, like I said, she's become quite popular to the point that she has amassed a lot of following. Like a lot of her followers not only come from like her home country, her Africa, but also around the world. And what is really interesting is the fact that when other people, especially other black people, try to undermine dark-skinned women's beauty by stating that the only reason that they're beautiful is because they are they look more palatable, right, to Western ideals. When you actually look at the facial features of these women, these attractive dark-skinned women, they are not all that slim. Like, they're, you're literally looking at the women and thinking, what slim features are these people talking about? Granted, there are people, there are plenty of women, dark-skinned women with slimmer, more keener features, but in the likes of Angela and other dark-skinned women who are attractive as well, who do not have these slim features, they get berated, and it's just very problematic because as someone who is also from East Africa, a neighboring country to Uganda, her features are very common where we're from, right? And I assume that she is from may potentially a Bantu ethnic group where we typically have more broader features and um, broader and more full features in comparison to other East Africans, like in the Horn of Africa. And so her features are very common. So when we see these Western black people complaining about how her features are not representative of the of black people's features. It's crazy because a lot of these black people who say this, they also have very similar features to her. Maybe not in the same composition, but in terms of like the breadth and the width of their noses, their lips, they're very similar. So it's very wayward. And also Angela, like I said, she's a dark-skinned woman. Like she is what you would class as unambiguous. She is an unambiguous black person. Like you look at her and you don't really assume that she has any like mixture or admixture from outside of Africa or within Africa, but a completely different ethnic group. You don't, well, as for me anyways, and for many other people, they would assume the same thing, that she is also unambiguous. So it's also very weird because in East Africa and across the countries in East Africa, generally speaking, lighter skin is deemed as more attractive, and darker skin is not seen as a sign of beauty as opposed to lighter skin. So it's crazy again that these people are basically, there's other talking points from people who are undermining her beauty and getting angry at her being praised for her beauty, is that her being darker skinned, the hate comes from other dark skinned people, not light skinned or more ambiguous looking or mixed people. It's lit. And yeah, so they assume that because she's darker skinned, that she shouldn't be praised. That's exactly what they're trying to say. They're basically saying that she shouldn't be praised, and they're trying to understand as to why she's being praised, so they just accuse her of her features being somewhat palatable, which can be seen as an insult to her ancestors, because you're literally trying to, again, essentially trying to, like I said, undermine, but also it's like a humbling tactic, because these people who are complaining, let's be honest, the main reason as to why they're complaining is not because they actually want to tackle featureism, is not because they actually want to tackle colorism, it's not because they actually want to actually make the world a better place and more welcoming for other people who get marginalized. What they're trying to do is really and truly, they just do not want to be at the receiving end of these colorist and featurist remarks. They're not really trying to change the system. They just don't want to be at the receiving end of it. And when they see that there are also other dark-skinned people who are not at the receiving end of it, and instead they're actually on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where they're actually being praised and they're being complimented and they are experiencing this pretty privilege that they thought was only reserved for lighter skinned people. They seem, well, clearly, they are very angry and they just want to humble those people, as attractive, dark skinned people, humble them and take them all the way down to the level that they're at, which is at the bottom. And I think one of the things that people need to understand is that not everyone is going to be deemed as attractive compared to other people. There are always going to be, in every single group, regardless of skin tone, regardless of skin color, there are going to be people who will be deemed as more attractive than others. right? Such is life. Is it fair? Not necessarily, but that's just that's just life, because there are some things that you may have more of compared to other people. And your looks, you can't control. Well, you can't control your genetics. I guess you could control your looks to a certain extent by doing like plastic surgery, enhancements for your makeup and all these sort of things and hair. But the point of the matter is you are born with the cards that you have to deal with for the rest of your life. So, and I've seen this type of treatment towards dark-skinned women, attractive dark-skinned women, quite often. And for some reason, I'm not sure if you guys also noticed this, but it's typically always surrounded, well, actually towards women from the east part of Africa, from East Africa. For instance, Angela is Ugandan. There are other like South Sudanese models like Anok Yai who always are being told that their features are Eurocentric. And it's just so crazy because these are women, again, in the region of East Africa. Darker skin is not seen as like the pinnacle of beauty, right? So these women, depending on the communities that they're probably in, they won't be seen as beautiful. But they happen to be in other communities or other environments where they are being praised for how they look like, and people have an issue with it. And it seems like I don't really see this type of treatment towards people who are Central African, towards Southern African women, towards West African women. I typically see this treatment towards attractive, dark-skinned women who are from East Africa. And I think that is very problematic. And it just shows that those people are pretty insecure and have a very low self-esteem of themselves, because just because you can't fathom the fact that someone else is more attractive than you and is getting more praise than you and is just taken well by other people does not mean that their beauty does not exist. Their beauty exists. You just cannot benefit from it. And it doesn't really matter if you are also dark skinned and you also have broader features. You are not the same as them. Everyone is unique in their own way. And this sounds very like brash and, for some it may seem a bit rude, but really and truly, that's just how things are. And yeah, like this is just something that was on my mind and I need to say, because it's honestly gotten so out of hand. And I think I might end up making like another video, because there are several East African dark-skinned East African women who typically get berated and disrespected when their beauty is being praised. And it's usually from other dark-skinned people and monoracial, unambiguous people. Again, which is very weird. And it also just shows like there's definitely a underlying jealousy, envy, all of the above. And also, I do want to mention that I do understand that people who have smaller features, who have more keener features or more narrow features, they do have a level of privilege in terms of the beauty scene, and especially in Western society where they do value those type of features very highly. And this is not to essentially invalidate other people's feelings, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to do is essentially offer a different perspective as to, whilst you think that you are being an advocate for people who do not benefit from featureism and do not benefit from certain aspects of society, especially when it comes to beauty, you are also simultaneously doing the very same thing that you hate other people doing, which is putting you down for putting other people down for the features that they have, which needs to be called out. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that Angela is being praised for her beauty due to the fact that her features are smaller? Or is it because she's just beautiful? Or do you have a completely different opinion? Let me know in the comment section. On to the next one. Bye.